Welcome back. We're here at the NFF conference in Canberra. I'm joined by David Goodfellow, CBRE Agribusiness Managing Director. David, obviously been a huge couple of years for investment in agriculture. We've seen land prices go up significantly in the past couple of years. What's driving that?
Well, up until a couple of years ago, we were impacted a bit by the drought, and prior to that we had low commodity prices. So farmers themselves, family farmers I mean, didn't really have the capital like what they do now, having had two great seasons and brilliant commodity prices over the last 2 years. So prior, it was really the corporates fighting against each other that was driving up land prices. And now we're seeing family farming businesses step into the market, and they're competing just as keenly to buy land right now.
Yeah, and at strong prices. We're seeing, families pay $70 million for farms.
Yeah, it's amazing how many families have got large amounts of money to invest in their future growth.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing at the moment, James, which is just fantastic, is people on both sides of the negotiations are smiling. So for those families that are not committed to being in agriculture for another generation or more, they're happy to get out right now. Much better than at the bottom of a drought or a bad commodity cycle.
Yeah.
So they're happy to be able to realise great value for their farms. But those families that are committed to staying in agriculture for at least another generation, mate, they're seeing the benefits of low interest rates, the outlook for commodity prices is really strong, and they're also seeing some of these new technologies that might have been tried 5 years ago, but the output was disguised by the drought, really working now. And this new wave of young people in agriculture is exciting because they're embracing these new technologies, and they just want more land to apply these new management practices across. And that's why they're competing hard for that land.
Yeah, and so we've seen prices go up and up and up in the past 2 years. I think we've called the top of the market on several occasions. How sustainable is this looking, towards 2022, 2023?
Well, we expect that interest rates will remain comparatively low, so we might see some small increases, but relative to where they've been over the last generation, still very, very low interest rates. But we also see the future of commodity prices being quite robust, at least for the next 3 years. So that's pretty exciting, and that's what we need to be able to make the feasibilities for farms work at these inflated prices. But mate, can I just add that Australian land prices have come up a lot in the last few years, but they've come off such a low base. And relatively speaking, our land is still quite cheap compared to having to invest in agriculture in other parts of the world. Yeah.
So where's the money coming from? Obviously, domestic farming, family farming interests, but overseas corporates, where are they bringing the money in from? North America?
Still a lot of money coming in from North America and Canada. There's a strong bias with money coming in from the Western cultures towards plant-based protein. So still seeing a lot of investment in cropping land and horticulture land, particularly from North America and Canada and even from Europe. But we're seeing the Asian economy still investing very heavily in meat-based protein, which is fantastic. And that's what's helping to drive up the value of livestock land right now. Yep.
We've seen the Foreign Investment Review Board fees go up significantly in the past couple of years. We've seen, is that a deterrent to kind of foreign investors?
I think foreign investors appreciate that there's going to be some financial costs, on top of what a normal farming business might incur to bring foreign capital into our country. But I think the biggest concern right now is the timing that it takes to get approvals through. So sometimes people might make a commitment to buy a farm, but if the time it takes to get the approval through extends past the time when you'd like to get a crop in the ground, or you would have liked to have joined your cattle or something like that, then that can create some problems. And that's both on the sell side and the buy side, because it's an emotional thing when it comes time to sell a farm. And what we love to see is, particularly families that are selling farms, that the buyers can actually enact on their willingness to buy very quickly, and that's being sort of slowed up a bit by FIRB.
Yeah. So the Coalition reduced the threshold for FIRB scrutiny to $15 million back in 2015. Given that land prices have gone up so much since then, is it worth reassessing?
Well, I think the thing that's on people's mind most is just the time it takes to go through FIRB. It's not the cost, it's not the threshold for what has to go through FIRB. Personally, I don't mind FIRB looking at everything that has to go through, because it's in Australia's best interest to make sure we've got proper controls in place. But it's really the efficiency of making those assessments and getting notification back to both the buyer and the seller that decisions have been made. If we can just speed that up, that's going to say a lot for our industry.
David Goodfellow, thank you for joining us.
Great, thanks very much, James. Good to be with you.